but where do I want to be in these areas? Okay? Now let's go back to the mind. Now the reason why this is important, Solomon said, where there is no vision, the people will perish. You guys may have heard that. The reason why they say that is because without a clear picture of the future, there's no order. And when there's no order in your life, there's chaos. And when there's chaos, that's when the people perish. So it's important that we work from a picture, because the clearer the picture you have of your future, the easier your life gets. Okay? And we think in pictures. Think about this. If I ask you, think of your home or think of your car. You don't flash upon the screen of your mind C-A-R or H-O-M-E. You actually flash upon the screen of your mind a picture of your home, right? Or a picture of your car. So that's why it's important to work from this. So let's go back to this. Okay? You have this big circle that represents the mind. And for the purposes of visualizing yourself, just imagine this as your head. So the top part is conscious mind, bottom part is the subconscious. Okay? So the conscious mind, this is where you have the ability to create ideas. Okay? This is where you can use your imagination. You can accept ideas. So you can say, John, this is great information. You can reject ideas. Or worse yet, you can neglect ideas. It's very important. So you can say this information is great, but you choose to neglect it, which hence procrastination. The bottom part, this is the secret. By the way, if you go back to these initials right here, this is the intellect, our thinking mind. To live in the highest plane is our spiritual world. That's our subconscious mind. Some people believe this is our higher self. This is the whole secret if you understand how the subconscious mind. It's known as our emotional mind. This is also where all your paradigms are stored. Paradigms are a multitude of habits. So whatever your habits are, okay, they're all stored right in here. We're going to teach you how to change the bad habits into new habits. Okay? Now, let me tell you what's magical about the subconscious mind. It has no ability to reject. It can only accept. Okay? Has no ability to reject. It can only accept. So if you think about it, we all have self-talk, right? We all talk to ourselves. It's not because we're crazy. It's just what we do. Okay? The question is, how are you talking to yourself? Remember, subconscious mind has no ability to reject. So if you tell yourself, I am no good, there's no way I could become a Cadillac person in Mary Kay organization. Guess what? Your subconscious mind's your own personal yes man. It's going to say, you're right. You are not a Cadillac person. You are not worthy. So it's important to use it in the positive. Only put positive things in your mind. If you're a parent or a grandparent, make sure you're teaching this to your kids, because whatever you embed in here can only accept. Another thing that's really important is your subconscious mind has no ability to tell the difference between an imagined event versus a real event. Okay? And let me give you an example of that. Think about when we're in the movie theater and we're seeing a nice action flick, right? Something comes flying across the screen. We know it's fake, right? But we duck. Or if we're watching a drama flick, or commonly known as a chick flick, right? It's our emotional mind. We know that person's not breaking up or getting divorced or dying of cancer or whatever it is, but we get emotional because our subconscious mind can't tell the difference between an imagined event and a real event. That's why it's important that you visualize, because your body can't tell the difference. When you visualize something that's not true right now, so if your goal is to get a college degree from Kent State, and you visualize yourself with that sheepskin, if your goal is to become that Cadillac winner with Mary Kay, okay, if you can't see yourself doing that, or being a $1 million or multi-million-dollar producer in real estate, you're never going to do it. If you visualize it, though, the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between an imagined event or a real event. It's got to make it come true. Now, I'm going to go off the stick person figure. Who here's got written goals? Written goals. Very good. Very good. Higher than 3%. Let me tell you why it's very important to write your goals. Okay, only 3% of the population writes their goals. When you look at this, writing your goals is an intellectual exercise. So goal setting is an intellectual exercise, but goal achievement is a lawful process. Did you have a question on that, Christine?
You actually mean handwriting, right?
Handwriting, right. So you've got written goals. Excellent. Goal setting is an intellectual exercise, but goal achievement is a lawful process. So I'm going to go off this for a second, and I'm going to show you another picture. This is, you guys have seen this. If you were to plant an acorn into the ground, eventually it goes into an oak tree, right? This is another example. I'm just going to touch on it right now, but this is called the law of gender. The law of gender states that any seed we plant, in this case it's an acorn, any seed that you plant has a gestation or an incubation period. And what I mean by that, if you think about it, a typical baby takes 9 months, right? So we know what the gestation period is. A thought seed is made of the same substance. The only difference is we don't know what the gestation or the incubation period is. Now, if we plant this acorn into the ground and a dog comes by and starts digging it up, will it grow? No, right? But as long as it stays into the ground and it fertilizes and all that, it grows into the acorn. This digging up that dog's doing, or in our case, we're digging it up, that's doubt. The more you doubt, the more this will not grow. So if you understand the law of gender, eventually that goal is going to come true. Okay? I'm going to give you a perfect example. I saw Bob Proctor. Seeker came out in 06-07. My son went with me. Got an autographed book. He kept the ticket. November 27th, 2007, he came to the church, Mount Zion, out in Oakwood Village, I think it was. And I told Mr. Proctor, I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker because I was a seminar junkie for all these years. And I said, Mr. Proctor, you got to do me a favor. You got to write a special message for me because I know you hear this probably every seminar. He goes, no problem. I'll write a special message for you if I can find it. It's this cover. Here it is right here. I told him to put nice presentation, John, June 2nd, 2011. And I took a mental snapshot of when I shook his hands, and I actually did a double handshake. And I took a mental snapshot, and I've been visualizing it ever since. Even though I hit my goal early, I still did it. Now, I didn't know how long it would take. He goes, John, if you're really serious about this, you know you could do it this year, which would have been June 2nd of 2008. I said, I know, Mr. Proctor, I'm just not ready. Well, I not only didn't, I surpassed it. June 2nd was just a couple months ago, right? I'm coming up on 2 years now in January of being a speaker. So this stuff absolutely works. So this oak tree represented me being a speaker. Okay? What does that oak tree represent? Is it building a business? Is it graduating from college? Is it getting in a better, body weight? What is your goal? So it's the law of gender. Okay? So I'm going to go back off that and go back onto the stick person. Now, with the stick person, okay, now that everyone understands it, here's what happens. These are our 5 senses. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. These are all like antennae attached to our conscious mind. That's what these represent. So you could actually mark on your paper, see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Okay? What happens is we gather all the information from our outside senses, and we're getting like 40,000 thoughts a day, I think, 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And one of 2 things can happen. You could either think a positive thought, or you can think a negative thought. I want to make one point. No circumstance or person can make you think a thought. It's very important. No circumstance or person can make you think a thought. Okay? Too many people put the crown on this, and what I mean by that is, we talked about it earlier, what is everyone talking about right now? The economy. That's the circumstance. And we all want to blame the economy, or blame our boss, no person, our boss, our significant other, we're pointing the finger. And you guys may have seen this. When you point the finger, there's 3 fingers pointing right back at you.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have to take personal responsibility. I learned a long time ago, I think it was Zig Ziglar, that the economy is in between your ears. I mean, you can't be naive and say the economy's great, but what you can do is not participate in the bad economy. So in Bob Proctor, we teach how to create your own economy. There's people that wait for the door to swing, and then there's proactive people that go out and get that business. So that's what we're going to teach you here. Okay? So again, no circumstance or person can make you think a thought. So in order to really make this thing work, you have to understand the intellectual faculties. They're on the left here. The intellectual faculties, by the way, if you think about the book Think and Grow Rich, Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill, right? And Napoleon Hill was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie to interview the 500 most successful men and women. And here's what he found, that the 500 most successful men and women so developed these intellectual faculties that they could acquire or attract anything they want in life without violating the rights of others. These are all perfect. Unless you have some sort of mental disability, we all have perfect mental faculties. They're also known as our mental muscles. So just like you can build your bodies, right, Will? You can build your bodies, you can build your mental faculties or your mental muscles. Okay? So it's very important. Let's look at the first one, perception. If I were to ask Pat, is there writing on this? She would say yes. If I asked Laura, is there writing on this?
No.
She would say no, right? Perception is our outlook. Who's right? Pat's right from her point of view. Laura's right from her point of view. Point is, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It's what works. Pat says good economy. Laura says bad economy. Whose business is better? Probably Pat's, right? So it's important to use the intellectual faculty of creating your own economy. Yeah, economy's bad, but you don't have to participate in it. Okay? Second one, will. Will is the ability to stay focused on something to the exclusion of all the outside distractions you're getting from your five senses. Will is not this kind of will, force will. Okay? Will, again, is the ability to stay focused. Now, these are intellectual faculties or intellectual muscles, right? With the intellectual muscles, with will, you can work these. One way to do it is you could sit in your favorite chair at home. Okay, you could put a candle, light it, right, and watch the flame. It's natural for us to have thought trips, right? But as soon as you find yourself going away and getting a thought trip, you focus right on that candle. That's how you can stay focused. Give you an example of will. There is nothing more powerful than a mind made up. Okay? The best example I could give is Roger Bannister. Anybody hear the Roger Bannister story? The Roger Bannister story is he's the first guy who ran the 4-minute mile. Okay, he did this in 1956. So just so you guys know, Roger Bannister was told by the whole medical community that it was physically impossible to run the 4-minute mile. Matter of fact, he was told that if he ran the 4-minute mile, his chest would actually explode out of his chest cavity. Doesn't that sound stupid today, right? But nothing more powerful than a mind made up. Roger said, no, I can do it. He had the will, and guess what? He did it. Since then, thousands have run it. Okay? Next faculty, imagination. Okay? Imagination is extremely powerful. You can say this about everything. Here's why. It takes no more energy to dream big than it does to dream small. At Bob Proctor, we teach goal cards. One of the sayings on the Goal Achiever card is, by Michelangelo, says the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but it is too low and we hit it. Okay? The reason why this is important, and I'm going to repeat this a couple times, it takes no more energy to dream big than it does to dream small. Now, why is that important? When you tie that into the subconscious mind, your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between an imagined event or a real event, right? All right, so if you understand the law of gender, if you're asking for this, eventually it's going to happen. So why not think big? Because your subconscious mind is going to make it come true. Okay, we're going to teach you the techniques on how to do that. Okay, memory. Who here has a bad memory? Anybody? Okay, a couple people. Now here's what you're going to find when you study memory. Actually, everyone has a perfect memory. Okay, you're laughing. Okay, here's if you understand the concept, you'll change your mind right away. Memory, okay, if we had a great hypnotist that walked in here, she could actually hypnotize any one of us and actually make us recollect anything that we've ever experienced in our life. We have perfect memories. I will promise you, probably the reason why you think you have a bad memory, if you notice, two people in the same family said it, is because, remember, your subconscious mind can only accept. So if mom's been saying, I got a bad memory, maybe your mom was saying it, or your mom, your dad, whatever, your whole life you're hearing it, guess what? All of a sudden you say, you know what, my mom has a bad memory, I think I have a bad memory. Okay? So if you understand that concept, and you realize you actually have a perfect memory, now you're thinking, oh, it's actually my mother's habit. It's not my habit. Okay? And if you understand that, you can change your whole life just on that concept. And if you think about dishes that are passed on between generation to generation, your spaghetti dishes or whatever dish that you make, you all make it the same. It's because it's been ingrained into your subconscious mind. So when you understand there's all kinds of information on the internet to better your memory, to strengthen your memory, you'll find that you really don't have a bad memory. It was actually somebody else's habit. So when we were younger, you're going to find a lot of your habits are not even your habits. They're your parents' habits. They're your older brothers and sisters' habits. They're your aunts and uncles' habits. Does that make sense? So very important. If you understand that concept, see what I mean? You can have everything you want if you get this information. Okay? Just that simple mind shift. Intuition. Intuition is the ability to feel that vibration. Dr. Wayne Dyer's got an excellent definition. Dr. Wayne Dyer says if prayer is us talking to God, intuition is God talking to us. Okay? So you have to listen to that inner voice. So when you have that intuition, you know whether or not you're making the right decision or not. And the last thing is reason. Even though it's listed last, and I can say this about any one of these mental faculties, it gives us the ability to think. Here's what we found. Only 2% of the population thinks. I was kind of shocked when I heard this. 3% of the population thinks they think. And the other 95% would rather die than think. And when I heard that, I said, no, that can't be right. But actually, when you think about it, okay, in The Secret, they say 3% of the population controls 97% of the income. It's starting to make sense. When you Skip, you're in the financial world, or anyone else chime in who's in the financial world, at the age of 65, when you hit 65, here are the statistics, 5% are independently wealthy. Okay? The other 95, I think there's like 38% of them are deceased, and the rest of them are either living off Social Security or family, it's usually not enough, and then there's 5% that have to continue to work. Okay? So now it starts to make you realize, yeah, they aren't thinking, they're just being herded like sheep, okay, to that destiny. All right, so we're going to teach you how to think, and I'll just prove it to you right now. Go like this, everybody. You know, as quickly as you can. You're making a circle as quickly as you can. Put it on your chin. Okay, now if you look around, everyone's chin is up by their cheek. This is the chin. See? We're herded. It's like Simon Says, right? We're herded. We're herded. See, this is why it's important. This is why advertising works and why people like, I hate to say the L word, LeBron, okay, gets paid multi-millions of dollars, okay? Because we're programmed. Like Michael Jordan, my gosh, the guy's retired for how many years now, and he's still getting paid millions of dollars. When you think Mike, you think what? Nike. You think, I think underwear, right? But what's the other thing? Like, finish this statement. Chevy like a rock, or for us older folks, how do you spell relief? R-O-L-E-I-D. Yes, see, we're programmed. We're programmed. So Les Brown says it's very important that you program yourself, or else life will program you, as we just proved. So again, don't be herded like the sheep. Use this to think. Independent thinking. Very, very important. So again, just to review, here's what happens. You have a thought. So it's an X thought, let's just call it, which puts you in an X mindset. Let's call that a plus, I mean. Positive thought, which means you're in a positive mindset, which puts you in a vibratory rate. Now remember, law of vibration, you start attracting what you need to attract, right? Your actions go like this, which produce better results. That's the positive way. If you have a negative mindset, negative thought, puts you in a negative mindset, it sets you up for a negative vibratory rate, your actions don't even go to the side. Worst case scenario, they go down. You stop doing what you did to get that promotion or to meet that significant other, and your results get worse. Okay? So as I continue to study this, I never want to have a negative thought. Now, we all have negative thoughts, but the key is just to switch it, to use the intellectual faculty of perception, and as quickly as you can, switch it to the positive. Because here's what's going to happen if you don't. Because there's this thing in life, you're either growing or you're dying. There's no in-between. Okay? This in-between is right here. This is called complacency or comfort zone. Bob Proctor says if you're not standing on the edge, you're taking too much room. Okay, this is horrible, even though they call it the comfort zone. Okay, I'll describe comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with thinking like the comfort zone, but here's what happens in life. It's like people do everything they can to get promoted, right? They do everything they can, then they get comfortable, they get the promotion, they kick their feet up on the desk, right? And they think that's managing or leading, okay? And it's not. So what happens is, by law, you're either going up or down. So if you're in the comfort zone, guess what? You're not going up. You're going down. And see, that's what's happening to your actions, which causes worse results. Does that make sense? So you're either growing or you're dying. There's no in-between. Very important. So if you're not bettering yourself, doing these self-development courses. I'm telling you, you guys made the best move by coming here, or any seminar that you go to. I think some of you guys have another class tonight, okay? So it's very good. Now, I'm going to tie this all in. This is a very important concept. Let this little cloud here represent a person's current self-image. You will never outperform your current self-image. And again, I'll repeat that. Whatever your current self-image is right now, you will never outperform it on a permanent basis. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. Our subconscious mind works just like, if not exactly like, autopilot on an airplane or that thermostat. Okay? It's governed. In other words, if you have the thermostat set at 68, okay, and let's say it's the middle of winter, somebody opens a door and all of a sudden all this cold air comes in, temperature goes down to 66, what does the thermostat do? It kicks into gear, it sends a signal, the thermostat sends a signal to the heating unit, and the heating unit will actually adjust to get it back to 68. That's exactly how our subconscious mind works. Okay, so for example, I'm going to give a couple examples for the teachers in the room. If you have a D student, okay, so here is what it is. They're a D student, all right? And of course, as teachers or as parents, we're going to put pressure on that child, and the child will get lucky and maybe get a B+. Here's the problem. As soon as that child gets the B+, your subconscious mind sends a signal to the brain. The brain sends a signal to the nervous system, bless you, just like the thermostat does, and it pulls them right back down to their D habits. Very, very important. Okay? When I first learned this and I was over at the health club, what happened was a woman walked in and said, "John, I need to lose 60 pounds. And I don't understand it. I'm joining a club. Before I came here, I went to Target to buy some water, doing all these right things, right? And then I'm walking down and I see the snack aisle and I grab 2 bags of potato chips. Here's what happened after I figured this out. I said, here's what happened. Your self-image is a 60-pound overweight woman. So you're going off course and going to join a club, buying water. As soon as the subconscious mind kicks in, bam, it goes right back and makes you go down the snack aisle. Makes you go right down the snack aisle.
It's true.
Okay? Now, for the people in business, I'm going to pick on the real estate business for a second here. Okay? I'm going to pick on the real estate business. We've all seen those $1 million cards, right? So let's say that it's January, and that person's self-image says, I'm a $1 million producer. Not a multi-million-dollar producer, just a $1 million producer. What happens is, so they're just $1 million. They get off the gate in January, and they sell $500,000 worth of real estate in the month of January, which is extremely good, right? In the middle of winter.
Yeah,
Okay? What is that if you did that every month? Correct me if I'm wrong, that's $6 million.
right.
Okay, if you did it every month. Here's what happens though. Subconscious mind kicks in. It says, I'm only $1 million, so it slows you down. It actually slows you down. So what happens is you stop making the phone calls. You stop promoting. You stop being proactive. Okay? And what happens is you go back to just the $1 million habits. Now, don't get me wrong, $1 million's not bad either, right? But why can't you do multi-millions?
Right.
Does that make sense? Okay, so how do you combat that? One of the programs I teach is called Winner's Image. So what you have to do is you have to create a new, what we call winner's image. So it starts out right here. You have to think the idea. Make the big D, create a new winner's image, expect it to happen, and then take action. So I'm going to explain the process. You have the winner's image, and then you embed it into the subconscious mind. It shrinks the old one, the current self-image. Now, it's always in there. I just want you to know, this current self-image is always in there, but it's going to happen the opposite. You'll actually start selling a lot, and every once in a while you'll have a bad month. You'll always get A's, every once in a while you'll just get the D. Does that make sense? All right? And you'll start eating healthier when it comes to weight loss, and occasionally you'll binge. Okay? It happens the opposite. How do you embed it into the treasure of your subconscious mind? There's only 2 ways. We're out of time, I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. Till next week, same back channel though. No. Next week, no, I'm just kidding. The winner's image, the only way to embed it is emotional impact. Emotional impact is a 911 event, a divorce, a death. I'll give you an example. I'm celebrating my 25-year high school reunion this weekend, and unfortunately one of our classmates passed away of a heart attack. And if you met this guy, he was a tall, thin, lean guy. You'd never expect this guy to have a heart attack. Now, I work out, but if I wasn't, I would be shocked into working out because it's an emotional impact, okay? We don't want that to work. The only other way is through constant and spatial repetition, but with emotion. Constant and spatial repetition with emotion.
With expectation.
Constant and spatial repetition with emotion, and like Mark said, with expectation, if I may borrow that. Together, constant and spatial repetition with emotion with expectation. One more time. Constant and spatial repetition with emotion and expectation. Why is emotion important? Our subconscious mind is emotional. You have to put the feeling. So when you're visualizing something, you have to visualize. Skip.
Explain spatial recognition.
Spatial repetition. In other words, you repeat it. Maybe take a break, repeat it again. Spatial.
Repeat.
Keep repeating whatever it is. Kind of like when you curl,
Yeah.
right, to build the bicep. You have to take a break, right, or else it won't grow, and you do it again.
Okay.
So you space it out, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so constant and spatial repetition, but it's with emotion. Because if you don't put emotion, how many times have you guys said, I'm going to become a millionaire, I'm going to become a millionaire, but there's no emotion. That's why it's not happening. I think I'm going to become a millionaire. There's no emotion. You have to put emotion into it. Fake it till you make it. So I'm going to give you an example since I was in the health club business. That female who couldn't lose the 60 pounds, and this could be male too, so I don't want you guys to throw pies at me, the women, okay? So it could be male or a woman. Okay, if you think about it, when you go to the beach and when you go to the pool, when you see a person that's overweight, believe me, they're probably not wearing a two-piece, unless you're in Europe, okay? they're probably not wearing a Speedo, because it's not in style here, but what happens is, when they're definitely not wearing a two-piece, and unfortunately they're probably wearing a one-piece, and they're probably wearing t-shirts over it. And worse yet, when they go into the water, if they go into the water, if they're even at the beach, they're wearing their clothes still. Okay? So when you visualize, you have to visualize in the body that you want. That's the key. Okay? The problem is too many people look at their current report card. That's why I said you got to take a snapshot. Don't let your current report card see what your future is. Okay? Don't let your current report card see what your future is. I can tell you, since I made, if you remember, $39,000 at 20 years old, I got exposed to a whole bunch of people making a lot of money without a college degree in the health club business. And I said, I'm going to make a six-figure income when I turn 25. Okay? So it took me 11 years. 36 years old before I hit it. Now, luckily for me, my income kept going up, but it took me 11 years to hit it. On my 15-year anniversary, I said to my wife when we were down in Myrtle Beach, I said, I want a Harley. Okay, I want a Harley. And I don't look like a typical Harley guy, right? So my wife thought I was crazy too. You don't even look like a Harley guy. You don't even have a tattoo. Okay, so what happens is, I said, I'm going to get it, and guess what? For our 20-year anniversary, I got it in our 18-year anniversary. Let me tell you the difference. Running FitWorks, 2 or 3 people allowed me to sit on their Harley. I didn't even know Harley guys allowed you to sit on your Harley. Okay? They let me sit on it. A couple people let me ride it because I knew how to ride bikes. So when I visualized, guess what? I already knew what it felt like. I already knew what it sounded like. So I had the positive mindset, and which put me in a positive emotional mindset, positive thought, positive emotional mindset, positive vibratory rate, which attracted me the amount of members I needed to hit the commission levels, right? Okay, and that's how I got my Harley earlier. So my point is, what does your Harley represent? I don't want you to wait 11 years like my income goal took. Okay? I can't wait. I don't want you to wait 11 years. I want you to get your Harley 2 years early, whatever your Harley is. Whether it's the Cadillac, right? Or whether it's a business, a great business, whether it's the college degree. Don't wait 11 years. Get your Harley 2 years early. If you understand it, this is what it's going to do. You don't have to take baby steps. You can take the quantum leap. And this class is gonna teach you how to take a quantum leap. Okay? I believe I'm done with today's presentation, so we're in the question and answer. If you have to leave, feel free to leave right now. Okay? But right now we got